Today, we're going to dive into a really compelling story, the narrative of Chandpur. We'll be looking at sources from folklore, community studies, trying to understand, well, the anatomy of liberation there. Our mission really is to unpack how this community went from systemic oppression, forced servitude, to something like genuine freedom. And it all seems to pivot around one person, Aalia.
Yeah, when you first look at the material on Chandpur, it's jarring. There's this huge gap between the image and the reality. They had this sign, welcome to our happy village, pictures of kids laughing under mango trees, just idyllic. But as the sources make clear pretty fast, that was all a facade, a total lie, really, just a mechanism to hide what was actually going on.
Absolutely. It was a cover designed to hide the fear chains, as the sources call them, that really held everyone captive. And the Sarpanch Raghav Singh, he was a master of playing two roles, to outsiders, investors, officials. He'd talk progress, development. But inside the village, it was pure feudal control, grip, debt, endless labor. That was the reality.
So it wasn't just whips and chains then?
No, not primarily. What's really crucial to grasp is the system was sophisticated economic bondage. They weren't trapped by walls, they were trapped by ledgers. Their debt was designed to be impossible to repay. It just kept growing, accruing interest, forcing them back into the field cycle after cycle. They could never get ahead.
Okay, so if the chains are economic and psychological, well, breaking them isn't just about a simple revolt, is it? That's the challenge for us today, isn't it? How does a community totally paralyzed by this fear, this sort of historical habit of just looking away, how do they find the spark to act together? And that spark, that story, it really starts with Aalia's family. The sources are pretty vivid here. The resistance begins small, almost hopeless. Aalia's father, described with his knuckles whitened around the plow handle, he just hits his limit, and he says no more. Refuses to keep working under that crushing debt.
And for Raghav Singh, that single act of defiance, it was an existential threat. He couldn't let it spread, could he? So retribution was immediate and brutal. His men came in the night. The sources mention batons, whispers, screams. Aalia's father was killed.
Just like that.
Just like that. But the real kicker, the thing that fuels Aalia's later actions, is how the community reacted. Or rather, how they didn't. The sources keep stressing this paralysis. The other villagers, they turned away. They heard it happening, but the fear kept them locked down.
It wasn't necessarily malice, was it? More like self-preservation gone wrong.
Exactly, but the effect was the same. It reinforced the Sarpanch's power, showed everyone the price of defiance.
It's that awful turning away, that weight of knowing you should do something but feeling like the risk is just too immense. So Aalia's mother sees this. She realizes the village isn't safe for anyone who resists. And she makes this incredible sacrifice. Doesn't go with Aalia, just whispers, "You must go." Run into the mountains, and Aalia flees, alone, carrying her father's death in the village's silence. It's heavy stuff.
Yeah. And that flight into exile, that's where everything starts to shift for her. She nearly dies, collapses somewhere out there. But she's found by these silent monks from a really remote monastery. They save her life physically. But crucially, they won't fight her battle for her.
Right, the monastery, under this granite outcrop, wasn't it? They patch her up, but draw a line.
A very firm line. This is where you see that core tension emerge. The monks have this explicit oath not to interfere in the world of men. They won't use their strength or resources to fix Chandpur's problems. They're observers. They offer sanctuary, but zero military help.
So no cavalry riding to the rescue.
None. And that non-interference is absolutely critical. It means Aalia can't just rely on some outside force to come in and fix things. Instead, the monks sort of turn it back on her. They basically say, look, we won't fight that world. You must become the sword.
Wow, so the responsibility shifts entirely onto her.
Completely. She has to internalize the whole operational requirement of liberation herself. No backup coming.
That's a massive shift from victims seeking refuge to, well, having to become the weapon herself. How does that monastic training even work for fighting someone like Raghav Singh? It's not like they're teaching her siege warfare.
No, exactly. The training, described as happening under harsh wind and colder stone, it wasn't about large-scale battles. It was specialized, surgical. Think shadow moves, dagger grips, silent resolve. It's about internalizing the skills for a quick, targeted strike against a specific, localized power structure.
Like guerrilla tactics, almost.
Precisely. Not designed to defeat an army, but to decapitate the leadership, to neutralize the command.
Okay, so she's forged into this single, focused weapon. She returns to Chandpur. And on the surface, nothing's changed. Same happy village sign, same fields, the oppression is still there. But she's carrying something else now, besides the dagger and the training. that documentation. Let's talk about that.
Right, the ledger photograph of debt and servitude. This is huge. We shouldn't see it as a picture. It's a weapon in itself, a tool for dismantling his whole system. Well, Raghav Singh's power rested on that economic data, right? The ever-growing debt that nobody could track but him. This photograph, presumably it's his main ledger, it turns that data against him.
So it weaponizes the proof of the system. It lays bare the mechanism of the bondage, not just the violence.
Exactly. It provides the concrete evidence needed to show the community, maybe even outsiders eventually, how they were being systematically cheated. It strips away his legitimacy.
Okay. So the stage is set. Raghav Singh and his men, they're gathered in a barn, feeling untouchable. And Aalia just walks in. This is it, right? The individual hero versus the system.
And that initial fight scene, it's explosive. It shows her training work. She moves like wind. His men, his enforcers, they can't lay a hand on her. She's got the blade. She's focused. And for a minute, you think, wow, maybe this single sword can win this. It's the ultimate test.
But it doesn't work out that way, does it?
Right.
This is where the story takes that crucial turn. The individual ultimately fails.
Precisely. Just when it looks like she might actually pull it off, this hidden attacker jumps out from behind some sacks, plunges a dagger into her side.
She goes down, gasps, falls.
Yeah.
And that moment of failure, her vulnerability, that's the real catalyst, isn't it? Not her success.
That's exactly the point the analysis focuses on. It's not about her injury itself, but what happens because of it. Remember the villagers, watching from the shadows, still paralyzed.
Yeah, waiting for her to save them.
Right. They were pinning all their hopes on the savior, the sword. But when the sword falls, when she's shown to be vulnerable, suddenly the whole calculation changes. They realize, maybe subconsciously at first, that waiting to be saved just means continued slavery. If even she can fall, nobody's coming for them. They have to do it themselves.
That fear of the Sarpanch is suddenly less powerful than the fear of just endless misery.
Something like that. And then one villager just snaps, breaks the silence, shouts, "Enough!" And that shout echoes, it spreads. It's like the sound of those fear chains finally breaking. And we need to look at how they acted then. It wasn't planned, no strategy meeting. It was just spontaneous combustion, pure communal rage boiling over, overriding that individual fear.
And the weapons.
Not swords or guns, it was fists, hoes, torches. The tools of their own oppression, their daily labor, suddenly turned into weapons of liberation. The sources say the earth itself turned over. It's incredibly visceral.
So it's just absolute chaos. The men who are masters moments before are suddenly surrounded, overwhelmed by hundreds of people acting out of sheer desperation and anger.
Total chaos. They fought until Rakhav's men were either dead or fled into the shadows of dawn. Liberation wasn't won by Aalia's fancy moves. It was won by the unified, furious trauma of the community finally taking back its power.
So the insight here is that Aalia, the sword, falling, that was actually necessary.
Necessary, yes, but not to defeat the enemy directly. It was necessary to free the community from relying on her, from waiting for a hero. It forced them to realize that true, lasting freedom had to come from them, from the collective.
Okay, so the fighting's over, dawn breaks, only Raghav Singh is left. Trembling, his mask of control shattered, and Aalia gets up, wounded, but standing. And she's holding two things, the knife that stabbed her and that ledger photograph. The proof.
Yeah, and this is a moment of incredible pressure. The villagers are there, they're watching, and they're not quiet, they want blood. The chant is clear. Kill, kill, kill. For them, after everything, justice means execution. The final, definitive end.
Makes sense, from their perspective.
Absolutely. But Aalia, she makes a choice here that fundamentally redefines what victory means for Chandpur. She doesn't kill him.
She doesn't, after everything.
No. Instead, she performs a different kind of execution, an execution of his power, his symbolism. She steps forward, rips off his fine clothes, his symbol of power, leaving him standing there in his bare fear.
Okay, that sounds powerful, symbolically, but hang on. Practically speaking, letting him just run off, isn't that incredibly risky? Leaving this loose end, this potential source of future trouble? Doesn't a system like his need its figurehead completely removed, physically eliminated?
That's the crucial question, isn't it? And her choice, I think, is deeply strategic, not just moral. Think about it. If she had killed him, what would that have meant?
I mean, the new power starts with an execution.
Exactly. It risks founding the new Chandpur on the same kind of violence they just overthrew. It continues the cycle. By stripping him, humiliating him, exposing his fear, she sends two messages. First, to Raghav Singh himself. You're not even worth killing. Your power was just clothes and fear. And second, maybe more importantly, to the villagers. Our new power isn't about vengeance or bloodlust. It's about moral authority. It's about the truth, the evidence. She's still holding that photograph, remember?
So she commands him, go, run away, never come back.
Yes. And that command, followed by his terrified flight, has this profound effect. The villagers' roar just stops. It turns into the stunned silence.
That silence, yeah, that speaks volumes, doesn't it? It's like they're realizing, oh, justice can look like this.
Yeah.
Something new.
She reduced the tyrant to a pathetic fugitive. He becomes a living, running symbol of his own downfall and of their victory. A constant reminder that he was beaten not just by force, but by being exposed and judged.
More powerful than a corpse, maybe.
Arguably, yes. It demonstrates the fear chains were broken not just by rage, but by establishing a different, maybe higher standard. She became a liberator, sure, but she chose the role of a judge, not just an executioner.
And so, Chandpur.
Yeah?
The fields are still there, the sun still shines, the sign might even still say, Happy Village. But now the source says, the smile meant something real. The facade is gone, replaced by a genuine, earned reality.
So wrapping it up, Aalia's journey is fascinating. Trained to be a killer, essentially, but she chooses to be this moral arbiter in the end, and it only works because her vulnerability, her falling, was the trigger the community needed to finally stand up for themselves. True freedom wasn't delivered by her. It was realized when the villagers accepted the fight was theirs all along.
So the final takeaway for you, listening, might be in that choice Aalia makes. Sometimes the strongest weapon isn't the one that takes a life. Sometimes it's that moral authority you gain from choosing restraint, choosing dignity over pure vengeance, especially when everyone around you is demanding blood. It changes the whole meaning of winning.
But, and this is the thought to leave you with, the story ends with Raghav Singh running off into the shadows, stripped, yes, but alive. What happens to a community newly free when the actual symbol of their oppression is just out there, somewhere? Is he truly powerless, or does the fear of his return linger? How does letting him go, rather than eliminating him, shape the new power structure they're trying to build? Does it make them stronger, or does it leave a seed of doubt? That's the challenge that starts the very next day after